Hey, how's it going? Coach Kyle here, and this is a 92-mile review of the Nike Vaporfly Flyknit 4%. And this is basically the second generation. They came out with the version 1, they came out with these, and then they came out with the next percent recently. And it's a mixed review, good and bad. So the runs that I've done in these shoes, the first run was an easy 1 mile, and then 4 at kind of like a moderate marathon pace. And then that was just to kind of test out the shoes. Run 2 was a solo half marathon at 7:20 pace. And so that was my goal pace for my 2 early spring marathons that I didn't actually really train for. So I didn't really do any long runs for those. And I wanted to just do them at kind of a moderate little effort. So I did the first one in 3:14 and the second one in the next weekend in 3:16 in these shoes. The 3:16 was 100% rained out. So, you know, I've heard bad things about these in the rain, but they were totally fine, no problems. Very happy with how they performed. So the shoes are super light from from here down. They're very comfortable. You know, they're not good to walk in. I kind of compare them to like a sports car, where you wouldn't go to the grocery store in a sports car, but you take it for a real fast drive. And these are kind of the same things. I wouldn't go for an easy jog in these. Certainly can't really walk in these comfortably, but you can run fast in them. Things I don't like about them are they're a tiny bit narrow along here, but the main problem is that I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runs in these, and I started bleeding 3 times. So here, this is just from a normal, today was just a flat run on the bike path, and I've got a pretty good, and that started within 4 miles, and that's new. That has never happened before. But both heels have look at that. And both heels, this one actually did start bleeding during the second marathon in the rain, because I remember when I got back to the hotel, my white Nike Wild Horses that I keep kind of nice because they're just super comfortable, they got blood on their heels from this shoe after the race, because I put those on after the race. You can kind of see old blood, and then this left heel did it as well. So you know, that can be prevented. I could prevent that by wearing tall socks. I own almost no pairs of tall, above the ankle in Gingies. I like the no-show in Gingies. I have some real thick pairs of higher ankle socks for the winter. Those would be too thick for these, because these are just a little too narrow. So I'm thinking for my marathon, I'll have to buy a pair of the liner and Gingies, the real thin ones, which I like in these, but tall socks to protect my ankles and my Achilles in the back. So I think that's the plan. I was going between these and a pair of Newtons, but you know, these are just a little faster. They're lighter. They're faster. They're not as comfortable, and like I said, they're not comfortable, but they'll get me through 26.2 miles faster than I think any other pair of shoes. So I'm gonna wear these for my fall marathon, and probably gonna get a pair of tall and Gingies, and I think that will prevent. Really, the only concern I have is that the heel collar rubs the fuck out of my ankles and my Achilles. So this is kind of silly for a $250 pair of shoes to do that. And the reason it does that is because the heel collar, it's not the softest material. It's not, it's not coarse, but it's not soft. And it hugs the ankle tackle the Achilles. Whereas like basically every other pair of shoes, my Kinvaras, my Newtons, my Lunar Glides, they don't have like that sock like fit around the heel collar. It comes out and away a little bit from, I don't have a pair here with me, it comes out and away from your foot, not right up into it like that. And they came out with the next percent, and they actually, I think they ditched the Flyknit, which, you know, also the concerns are that it doesn't, the Flyknit doesn't perform well when soaked, which I didn't have a problem, but also it tends to maybe stretch over time. And I haven't really noticed any stretching over the 100 miles, but so you know, that's my review. So the big question is, and I think this is true for pretty much any product, is would I get a second pair? And the answer is no. I would buy a pair of the next percents for sure over these any day of the week. They're like $30 more, but I'll spend $30 more for not having this after half of my runs. So, you know, that's it. Other little things over the 100 miles. I did do some running on gravel because there will be some gravel on my fall marathon, and it tore up the. It tore up. I think it's just like almost like paint on a bike. You know, it's nothing. It's just a little protective outer coating. It's basically like paint. If the paint on your carbon fiber bike cracked a tiny bit because the bike flexes a little bit. So I think that's just what happened here. You can see it right there. I think that's just the I don't know, some outer layer, like the decorative outer layer, I guess. But otherwise, you know, they're comfortable. You know, if it wasn't for the heel collar, I'd say there's no problems and I would purchase again. But see, now I have to go get a new pair of socks just to wear these shoes. So good and bad, mostly good. If I had a tall pair of socks for these on today's run, it would have been a perfect run. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. But if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, drop them below. And as always, you keep running, I'll keep coaching.